Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot News, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi.
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Querendus,
Greetings and salutations.
Arendus,
Hey, everybody.
and Calabathian.
I live!
She's alive!
Yes. Finally.
Let's head into our game news for this week, where we had another patch, update 28.1.2. And in this, we had only a small items, such as they fixed a bug where loot would have the incorrect item levels when awarded via loot rules that required rolling or a fellowship leader loot assignment. That's a problem, because wouldn't that be common in raids? Yeah.
Yeah, I know you
Raid go a
just
little troublesome
defeated.
too.
I know you just defeated Shelob on tier 5, but here's a level 1 thing.
I hope it
Have a
wasn't
plumed
that
hat
bad.
for your troubles.
Here's a ranger, and here's his pants. But I literally just defeated Sauron myself. I don't want the pants.
And for quests and adventure areas, canceling missions quests will no longer incorrectly apply the daily reset timer. Cancelled mission quests can now be picked up again after waiting a few seconds.
Nice.
All right, that's good, because you would have to wait 10 days before running that mission again if you canceled one, and it would apply the daily reset timer on it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was sitting here going, but if you canceled it, that means you don't want to run it. Why would it make sense to give it right back to you?
But you might have
I know you
canceled
don't
it.
want this now, but how about now? How about now? How about now?
You might have canceled it so you could pick up a quest, though. Like, maybe
Yeah.
you were running the festival quest and you needed one extra quest slot, so then you canceled a mission quest. You wouldn't want it to start the reset timer necessarily. You might want to go back and do it in a little bit.
Yeah.
And this probably especially when we had an old issue which is now being taken care of by the next point, and that is when running missions in a fellowship, joining the encounter started by a fellow will now always be available options, regardless of any quest still available from the NPC. Find encounters listed under available private encounters in the NPC dialogue.
That's handy.
So that little thing, it was taken care of.
So you still want to make sure you have the quest before you join the instance if you want quest completion credit, right?
Oh yes, because I had that some happened to somebody yesterday, where we were running a mission together. He popped into the instance using that option and forgot to take the quest himself, and as a result, we got through all the way through the mission. We finished it, killed the boss, and all that stuff. And it turned out he didn't get credit for it because he forgot to take the quest.
Wait, was this? Do I know
Oh,
this
stop.
person?
Most likely, yes.
So this was the academy.
Yeah, that was during the field trip.
Now
How
I'm
could
gonna
you
have to
guess?
ask. Now I'm gonna have to figure out who that was. Because when I get on next Friday, they're not gonna. I'm gonna. Yeah, I would call them out. I'd be like, "Hello, this is me. I was not there. I did not see this, but I heard."
Well, that is another matter. Instance.
Well, this is why they have the mission XP tied to the quest completion and not mission completion, so
Right.
that you can't farm the missions for a bunch of XP. You have to actually just wait.
yes, you do of course get XP for the mobs.
Yeah,
Because you're
and then you
essentially
get
just farming mobs then.
like I got 6 XP for completing the mission just now.
Oh, 6. Oh, yes, that's
6?
double than what I usually see.
Well, I'm only level 24, so
Yeah, no, I
apparently
mean
it goes
literally
down
because
as you go
usually
up in level.
no, because maybe you have an XP bonus active or something like this, but when I don't have an XP bonus, it's usually 3 XP regardless of level. At least that's been my experience.
6 XP. We got to use the rich emote.
But yes, when you turn in the quest afterwards, then you get the XP for actually completing the mission. And that way, as you said, you can't go and farm it by canceling the quest just before turning it in. For
Which is
instance,
actually really a good thing.
yeah. And in fact, it's probably a good idea then that they took care that they had that, because when they fixed that other thing about canceling the quest mission timer, it didn't work that way. Okay, there would have been quite an exploit there. For instance, Shakalush, the Stair Battle duo reward chests are now spawned correctly, and as far as I know, it is now open for duo. Though I have to admit, I have not yet actually done that instance yet, so I can't say that for 100% sure. Amden Damu, the Bloody Threshold, Gorkar, and Runular encounter fixed an issue that sometimes prevented frenzied wargs from spawning, corrected an issue that was causing Gorkar's Lance Strike skill to not always distribute to nearby players when it looked like it should have, and this skill will now distribute to players within 10 meters of the target. And the shield of the Longbeards will no longer block line of sight.
Especially since Shield of the Longbeards in the hands of a human shouldn't block line of sight. Now, Hobbit, that's a different story.
Wonderful.
Their line of sight. Grass blocks a Hobbit's line of sight. So,
well, I hate to say that's true, but it most definitely is. And for miscellaneous, Bjornings will no longer tilt when walking on angled surfaces.
My crooked Bjornings, thank you.
we aren't drunk. we're just a little tilted, okay? It's the world, it's not us.
By the way, I was pretty sure this was the case. You were mentioning about the duo version, but according to the forums, as of the 12th Tier 1 difficulty version of Shakalush the Stair Battle has been temporarily closed due to a bug.
That's the next story.
Okay. When you said that, I'm like going, I'm sorry, I'm not been looking at the notes.
Well,
been finishing my dinner. But yeah, I was like, because I want to try it, and it's never open.
Yeah, all right, yes. What happened is that Tier 1 of the 6-player version is closed. The 1-player and the 2-player versions are, well, I'm not 100% sure on the 2-player version. I'm assuming the 2-player is now, because I think they've taken care of all the bugs there. But the single-player version is still open, and the higher tiers of the Stair, I believe, are all open on there. So yes, if you haven't run it yet in 6, unless you have a really confident group that could go straight into Tier 2, you're going to have to wait.
Too many people running up and down them stairs. Now we got to shut it down because too many people.
There's a lot of stairs.
Yeah. It's like you go up and down those. We do stairs up and down those in PE a couple times, and it's like dead. But a couple of times.
Well, it's hard enough just worrying about breathing, but on that set of stairs, there's like orcs trying to get you.
Oh,
Oh
is
man.
this
It's
sort of like?
holes.
Is this worse than Sundegrot in the?
Eh.
How does it
Syndergrat's just a pain.
how does it
This,
compare
even in the missions, it's a pain.
how does it compare to Nars Peak? Since you have to go up and down that thing like 5 times to get,
I did laps up and down Nars Peak, and all I got is this measly title.
On the other hand, by the time you get that title, you are fit and strong. You're kind of scary.
Yes, the joys of Nars Peak. And that concludes the release notes for 28.1.2. They also had a Bulwer build, the first look at 28.2, which was to have a look at the PVMP changes that they are making. It's not a major change for PVMP. What
Yes,
it is
it
just,
is.
well, okay, it depends when I say, okay, I'll go into read to it whether you consider it major or what would be dependent upon. Actually, I guess the first word in here, monster play. Major changes on how monster player stats are wired up behind the scenes to make them advance more consistently with player stats when we level bump or generally restart the game. And to allow us to easily give creeps incremental rating bumps to keep pace with player itemization over the course of a full level cap cycle. That
Yay!
means, yes, because that means they don't have to make creeps overpowered at the beginning of the cycle in order to have them have any hope of being able to stay up when you get to near the end of the cycle.
I was just about to say, Pine, any changes to PVMP are major ones.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Well, yes. Well, when I was thinking of major, I was thinking of changing how monster play works in general or how corruptions work or anything like that. Stat changes I didn't consider to be a major change, but yes, I guess there are major changes on how stat changes are made. Creeps now also receive a generic multiplier on base HP and damage to help keep pace with player itemization. This multiplier can be quickly updated to let us bump creeps whenever new content is released with higher level itemization for freaks.
Woohoo!
Yes. Lots of tweaking to specific creep base rating values as well as trait and skill rating values. Creeps will now generally start with significantly better ratings even before they add corruptions.
Yes!
Yay! Yeah, see, there actually are major changes.
These are pretty
to
major, finally.
corruptions and
Okay.
stuff.
All right, very well. I'll let the people who actually do PvMP say whether or not they're major. All right. Physical mitigation corruptions now also give BPE boosts.
Cool.
Tactical mitigation corruptions now also give resistances.
Cool.
Resistance corruptions still exist, but they will probably be replaced or altered when we have a chance to expand the corruption tray and do a more deliberate pass on corruptions.
I hope we get some value back for them, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Okay. Updated a lot of morale, power, regen sources, including monster play skills traits and many consumables for both freaks and creeps.
Yes! Maybe
Yay.
we'll actually get some decent morale from our potions now.
Please.
Finished
Maybe.
major damage heal normalization passed. Bumped a lot of their weaker damage skills. And made a number of AoEs non-fellowship dependent.
Cool.
I was just I'm kind of hoping that they're also working on that whole, oh, by the way, you have been stunned. Now it's going to be 30 seconds before you can be stunned again and not 5.5.
Or 2.
Yeah, that
I
would be
mean-
Or
nice.
2, or
Creeps right now can be constantly stunned, so I don't see them changing like the fact that we can't constantly stun players, but I think players shouldn't be able to constantly stun us.
Now, it is strange that players could do that, seeing how that players can't constantly stun NPC mobs.
I know!
You would think they couldn't stun us either, but you would be wrong. You can be in a constant stun for as long as you can manage to stay alive. Which is sometimes surprisingly long. You're just stunned and they're focusing on somebody else, and then you start to be unstunned and they stun you again.
Well, that sounds almost more like a mez than a stun then. Because usually when
Anyway,
you stun...
you can't get out of it. Even with
Yes.
the spell potion things, like you use them and the most you can get is like 5 seconds, whereas any player character gets like twice as long. If they use one of their
Also-
skills.
yeah. Also, if you
And they
you
have
stun
skills
one of
and
them,
potions.
yeah, if you stun one of the player characters, and you stun them, and you jump on them, and then they get unstunned, you can't do it again for like a while. But conversely, you can be stunned literally, every couple of seconds.
I think it's like every 2 seconds or every 5 seconds or something. If
So in
you
theory,
use the
you could
stun
go-
break, if you don't use the stun break and you wait for the stun to wear off, they can restun you immediately, because there doesn't seem to be any cooldown on that.
Yeah, your health can be drained from full to nothing in a matter of seconds.
But maybe not anymore, because we've got a bump. I'm looking
Fingers
forward to
crossed.
testing this. When we've tried to get into Bull Roar, though, it was closed, so...
Oh, well. Then we'll see how that operates. For instances, those are the changes that were implemented in 28.1.2. So those I already discussed. Quests and adventure areas. Tradable Unbound Reputation granting tokens now have appropriate region quests gating their usage. Unbound Reputation granting tokens now.
Yeah,
All
so I
right.
saw a screenshot of these,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of miffed. Some of these quests I never want to do again, or at least I never want to be told I have to do again. But others of them just didn't make sense to me. Like, to use the Council of the North rep so that you can use the Ranger's Stable Master, you have to do Cranog's Challenge. Like,
Cranog's Challenge. All right. Well,
but
that's something that I
Cranog's-
do on every character.
yeah, but I don't. I don't want the armor that you have to delete always. Sometimes I just don't
Okay.
want it. So, but now you have to do it in order to use the reputation to use the Stable Master in the next area.
Okay. I guess because I consider Cranog's Challenge to be an honorary part of the epic storyline because it introduces Gunane.
Well, okay, so it might be an honorary part of the epic storyline, but I don't want to do the epic storyline all the way through either.
Oh, okay.
Like, which is part of my issue with some of the other quest requirements. But, like, if I've done it once on my account, why does every character have to do this? Especially if they're Aryed. Like, if I've Aryed a character and I want to be able to use the Stable Master, now I have to go find Cranog. I can't just go kill some stuff. I don't know.
Now, do you have to actually finish Cranog's quest, or do you have to...
Yes, you have to complete it in order to use the replica keys.
Right.
Okay.
Like, the fact that it's level gated seemed like enough of a requirement to me, because, like, I can't just give it to all my alts and get their rep up. I have to actually, like, play them. But now if I want a crafting recipe, or I want to use a Stable Master, or whatever else, now my alts have to actually do all the quests too, and... I don't know. That seems a little bit unnecessary. Like, maybe the quest could be like, hey, please go introduce yourself to this person so that you can use this rep item and we know that you actually exist. But...
oh, well. 4 Midsummer Firefly Mithril travel and quest guide locations have been fixed. The crumbled note can now be read from the quest tracker during Grimbjorn's interruption. Address some of the quest guide issues for the shades for ghostly figures. Mithril travel and quest guides have been fixed for quests What Ails You and Emerald Fireflies. Sephiroth, Queen of the South, Withel will no longer display her name before she jumps down to fight during the instance of Mazag in the web. I mean, we no longer can say we can no longer tell what her name is now until she jumps down.
Oh, hey, there's a name floating over there and nothing else. I wonder.
Well, actually,
I'm sure it's nothing.
no. Actually, I guess I thought that was the name down there. I assumed that the name was on top of her when she's on that high rock where she is before she jumps down.
I try not to look at her, so I don't know. In fact, I try not to do that quest either. But some of my alts have had no choice.
Okay. It's unfortunately something that you need to do if you're going to be doing those Mirkwood skirmishes.
Yes.
Yeah. Banners for the quest What Waits at Beer Tour will now respawn more slowly. Fix the flow issue with the instance The Road to Dunharrow, where players could get stuck if they followed into the paths of the dead. Okay. Midsummer, Lightning in a Bottle. The quest will no longer erroneously say completed in the dialogue window before placing the lanterns.
That's
Whoops.
good.
You're done. No, I'm not.
Fix the missing quest guide for Eggs for Gammer Tunnelly. How long has that quest been in the game? Yeah.
Maybe they just misplaced it for a little while.
Okay.
Left the guide on top of one of the bookshelves in the Smiles at Tooklin there, and they found it again.
Where it got put in with the mail and passed around from Hobbit to Hobbit via gift, and they finally got it back.
Adjusting the position of several mithril travel destinations in Mist Hollow. Quest Wildermore, the search for Garsig's farm. Players who were stuck in this quest should be able to complete it now.
Yay.
Does that mean you were stuck in that quest?
I don't think so. If I was, I probably canceled it. But
Yeah.
that sounds like it would be annoying to be stuck on that.
Yeah, you have a point there. Quest.
Wait, were they stuck because it just wouldn't go away, or were they stuck because they couldn't find the farm?
Or because they found the farm but it didn't update.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not have been.
Like, are we talking about like Garsig's farm became a ghost farm and it travels the lands and it appears and there's stories told around campfires about it?
There should be now.
It's the Brigadoon. It's the Brigadoon of Wildermore.
Yeah. Garsig is the Flying Dutchman?
They scare small children with it at night into behaving.
Yeah. Quest Pilfering Orcish Orders has been grounded. The Orcish Orders will no longer be floating in the air.
Well, that's a relief.
Fix the typo in the quest Routing the Spies. Small bush poking through the ramp in Thorn's Hall has been fixed. Characters of different levels and fellowship duos no longer need to acquire every quest in available quests. Actually, that it was brought over into the other release notes I've already read. Canceling mission quests will no longer quickly reset daily timers. I already talked about that. The Harvest Fall Festival has been extended through 11/30/2020.
Oh, thank goodness! I thought I had missed Harvest Math, and I haven't. I can play I can play.
For miscellaneous items, board-mounted jump animations is smoother for all races. Board mounting animation has been fixed for all races.
Well, that's a relief.
I guess I
It will
won't be
release when
floating
it's on
over my
live.
board anymore after this goes live.
It was really fun to watch there while it was still active.
Well, yeah, this is Bull Roar. It's still going
It's
on.
still active. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You still hover over your board when you
Enjoy it
mount
while you can.
All mount types can now be used in Thorin's Hall.
Ooh. They're
Really?
no longer
Now-
anti-boar.
They're no longer anti-boar.
Now, if only you could use all mount types in Rivendell. Hint, hint.
Hobby horse.
It says that mount is not allowed here. Same in Felgoth.
Adventures gear, when opened at level 130, now creates item level 428 with the chance to create one up to level 430.
Cool.
Dude.
And that is it for what was in Bull Roar. I did not have any opportunities to check that out, so I don't know if anyone else. Actually, I think everybody here said that they didn't have a chance to get in.
Mm-mm.
Yes, so we didn't have a chance to actually see that. And I think the most important items in there, of course, are all the adjustments to monster play.
I don't know. If you have any rep clickies and you don't want your alt staff to do all the quests, especially if you Arya'd them, that might be the most important issue.
Well, I admit the most important thing that people are happy about.
Fair.
Or at least I'm assuming. I know that I don't know
I
what
am looking forward to the monster stats change.
I don't know. I did not read the feedback relating to the monster stats. I know that the monster players are. I get the impression that it's mostly positive in there, or at least it's. I suspect that the worst being said in there is it's a start or something like this. I'm sure that there are some freak side players in the Moors who aren't so happy about it.
As a monster player, though, any increase in our stats right now is a good thing.
Yeah,
Hear,
you have
hear.
a point there. And I already talked about the temporary closure in the 6-player stair battle tier 1, which was. I think they originally closed everybody's tier 1, then they found a way to only close it for the 6-player version since that's the one that was bugged.
The way
So
I
we
was
can-
reading the notes was that they couldn't figure out a way to close that one, but I don't know.
I think they did post an update on Twitter within the past
Okay.
day or two since those notes,
Good.
but don't quote me on that. But I think only the 6-man is
Yeah,
closed.
the link that's in the show notes, it was to the one where they clarification on the stair battle temporary closure. We have been able to only close the 6-player version on the tier 1 instance, so they were able to do it only on that. That was on a clarification after the original announcement.
Yes, they do add on to that, though. It does mean that if you enter the tier 1 6-person, you can still enter, but the quest will not bestow. So there is
Right.
that just to be aware of.
Yeah, well, they couldn't keep people from going in without closing it for everyone. So they managed to just close the quest, so it won't give it. So don't go in there unless you want to do the whole thing and not get credit for a quest. If you want practice on it, maybe, or if you're doing it just for sightseeing, then it might not be as bad. I don't know how quest driven that instance is. I guess I'll find out when I find the stairs and actually run the instance. Let's head into LOTRO Beacon issue 182. And here we have a look. It looks like a look here up in our new region.
It's a pretty shot.
Yeah.
I'm not. Don't quote me on that. I have no idea where it is, but it is pretty.
Yeah, it's quite
Yes,
a
that's
pretty
the
shot in
difference.
there. Now, what 3 towers those all are, I don't know. I can't
The
remember the
one
names of all those places.
the one in the middle is Anakkurfu.
Okay, the one in the middle is
Because
Anakkurfu.
you're looking to the east. You're closer to the gates of Gundabad than not. On
Ah,
probably the before war side.
yeah, that definitely look like the right. Yeah, it is definitely the before war side because I don't see any mustard gas floating around. For our community spotlight, Nikki Abridged is celebrating the Harvest Mass Festival on an overview and 2 guides. Find the videos on YouTube. The Hobbit Yule calendar is approaching. Read about ways to take part in this year's calendar on the Grand Order of the Lost Matham blog. An hour of Andrea Bocelli takes place on Legible this Wednesday. Well, actually, this is, that'll still be upcoming. Read about this concert event on LOTRO Artists, assuming they really didn't foul things up since the Beacon comes out on Friday.
Well, it says the
Yes,
18th if you click through.
yes. No, Wednesday, November 18th at Breathe the Prancing Pony stage on the Langeville server. And that is 8 p.m. I will presume that's server time. So now for our weekly comment. What is the first sign of winter approaching?
Ned Stark is killed. No, wait. Wrong.
I thought it was
wrong
White
fantasy
Crow.
series. Yeah, I think it's the White
Anyway.
Crows, actually. But
I
yeah.
was going to point out someone in the
White Raven.
forum said that Jon Snow starts hanging out with Floyd, and forgive me if I mispronounce it. Is it DeWitt?
Do
Yeah.
it.
DeWitt?
Yeah.
With Floyd into it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
The first sign of winter approaching is that it gets really cold. Unless you're living in Texas, in which case it just drops down from like 90s to 70s. Brr.
Ooh, let's see. I thought that you're actually. What part of Texas are you in?
I am just south of Dallas, actually.
I thought it might have. I thought it does occasionally get rather
It
nippy there.
does. It does, but you have to be like, it's getting later and later. But yeah, it can get down in like the 30s during the day, but it doesn't really stay that way for very long before
Yeah.
it starts coming back up again. And I'm like, yeah, the amount of snow that we've seen. I mean, it's sprinkled in the last 6 years. I mean, I've literally seen like flurries, and then I'm like, oh, snow, and then it's gone, and I'm like, where did you go? You were supposed to snow.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, where I live, if an ice cube falls on the highway, they cancel school for the week.
Oh well.
Children
Yeah.
buying bags of ice cubes to throw on there.
Yeah, I would have thought that I guess I thought it was dry enough in Dallas that it would get chilly at night, but
Well, it depends on what you consider chilly. I'm
okay.
the kind of person that if it's 40 degrees out there, I'm still sleeping with like my AC on and my fan on me because I'm a penguin, basically. But
Okay. All right. I can see now that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
if you're running a. I hope that was hyperbole, but yes, I get what you mean.
yeah, we could say it's hyperbole. We'll do that. I mean, it's like tomorrow night it's supposed to drop down to 41 degrees, and I'll probably still have my fan on. So, 75 is just a little too hot. It's just too hot.
Oh, right. So
Yeah. So we have now figured out that Galabathian is a Balrog.
I'm just trying to figure out why you live in Texas instead of Alaska.
Mostly because I don't have enough money to move out of state. That and my family's here. But I
Oh,
totally
okay.
would. I totally would. If I had the money, I would basically be like, pick it up and move it over around. So, yeah. I would be going up north where it's a lot cooler, or northeast or northwest, or someplace where they have seasons instead of whatever is down here.
12 months of heat, yes.
And if you really want to know, I was actually born and raised in West Texas, right on the border between Texas and New Mexico. So it was especially hot there. Especially.
Okay. Mhm.
It's like, what's the temperature? I'm 8 years old and I'm out there playing in the summertime. What's the temperature? It's like 115. Oh, let's just play some more. And then I moved a little bit further east, and it's not quite as hot, but it's still too hot. So I obviously need to go north instead of east.
I thought you said you thought that the perfect time to play outdoors when you're in West Texas would have been around midnight when things are start cooling off.
It's still like 80 degrees at midnight. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's
too
still
hot.
80 degrees? Okay.
It's too hot. It's too hot.
Oh, is that bad? All right.
Yeah.
Then, all right. Any other people with first sign of winter approaching? And if we could stay in universe, it might actually be good.
I was going to say when the days start to get shorter, 5 p.m. nowadays feels like much later since it gets dark so early. But as far as in-game goes, I'd say Winterfest. Or Yule Festival, excuse me.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, my
Yule
first
Festival.
thought was like when your screen starts to freeze over, but then I realized that was probably Nersum approaching, not winter. So
Well, that could be the first sign of winter. Here comes Nersum.
true.
Here comes Nersum.
Yeah, I really can't say that it's when you see snow, because you can like go up into the Misties and there's snow and it's winter time, but it's not. It's the middle of summer because it's the Misties. So for hell, it's
Well, unfortunately they don't have progressing seasons in various areas in LOTRO. Well, it certainly doesn't, because it follows the season for wherever the storyline is, and you go to a lot of those northerly cold places, dab in the middle of either late autumn or middle of winter, or real nasty places like that. If that at least was one thing about Thievery and Mischief, you had a chance to see Bree outside of autumn.
Yeah.
You were able to see it in the winter right after the new year when they had that big snowstorm. So yes, I can't think of anything that would be a sign of winter approaching, but shorter days, that is probably the best one I can think of at the moment.
All the squirrels get fat.
All the squirrels get fat.
them's good eating.
You've
Well,
obviously
yeah.
never had a bird feeder. They're fat all year round. And probably taste like sunflowers if they're good eating. Sunflower seeds.
Well,
Now, everything is supposed to taste like chicken. Therefore, chicken must taste like sunflowers.
Let's head into our fan site news then. Last week we wielded pretzels. And we have a shout out also for Calabathian, who continued a Berg's tale. So
I wasn't even here and I got a shout out. Yeah. It's me.
On LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Druid's Fire wraps up the Extra Life Marathon. Skymatic journeys against evil, and Balviel goes to Sundagrot. Also on Twitch, Saruko provides a T4 champion perspective. Pantheon Heathen gets a new cam, and Ending finds the lands of doom. And over on YouTube, Louis7 overviews Lotro's endgame. Dragonfly Mage provides Aragian ambience, and Elder Gamer Girl finds a hideout.
Endang finds the lands of doom. Was Indiana Jones there with the temple?
I wouldn't know.
Lands of doom. Is that like the computer game Doom.
It's funny because I read that and I was thinking, I'm pretty sure he's already been through Moria and Mordor.
Yeah.
What Doomish lands of Doom could he possibly
I don't
be
know,
finding?
because I'm pretty sure he had been doing like new stuff in the war, but I don't know. I haven't actually been watching his stream because he's further ahead in the story than where I'm at.
Well, if that's what they're referring to, they aren't far from wrong.
And for our screenshot of the week, this screenshot is sent to us from a husband and wife couple who have been playing for almost 11 years. This is their favorite screenshot. Send in your screenshot by emailing it to LOTRO@SandstoneGames.com.
Speaking of winter,
Yeah.
yay for
Yeah.
Cal.
Yeah, that's. I know I say this about every picture that people post, but this one is truly gorgeous.
But yes, it does make you feel a little bit chilly. So Calabathian will love it.
Yes, this is swimsuit weather for me, man. I'm just gonna enjoy it.
Calabathian needs to roll a Bjorning with white hair.
I do have one.
Calabathian wants to move to an area where she can see the Aurora Borealis.
Calabathian would rather be the Aurora Borealis, just like hanging out in the high atmosphere where it's cold all the time. Yeah.
Then that concludes our Beacon issue 182. So let's head into our store sales. And Terry Adwin, what's on sale this week?
Nothing good.
Oh.
Bunch of legendary garbage.
If you want legendary garbage, check the mithril price first because it's probably cheaper.
Yeah.
Is that a hint for me? Because I'm trying to work on my allies.
Work on them the long way unless you really want to spend lots and lots of money.
Okay.
Yeah. Although we do have a good weekly coupon. It is the Rose Die times 5 with coupon code ROSE5. But we have 30% off legendary level cap increase, legendary stat upgrade, relic packs, legacies, legendary slot unlocks, and tier upgrades now through November 19th. Blah, blah, blah.
Then let's head to our site news where we have another article by Squirrel, and this time we talk about the Lost Quest, the Long Lost Quest packs number 6, the Black Book of Karazgar. And in here, he talks about the Mordors. And yes, the first 2 fortresses of Mordor would provide some solid challenges, and with the help of these infamously Barad-dûr and Cirith Ungol, you would venture deeper and deeper. Then it talks about Rime and Rust on the trail of Rust Quest. Then they talk about some more X dailies such as Rosgobel and Radagast's army of critters. Talks about the Iron Hills and those little level 120 quest hubs. So that's a little quick rundown through what was in the Black Book of Karazgar. In other words, all that stuff that you had after finishing up Mordor. So is he going to try to do one for the post 130 stuff? Or is he going to wait until Gundabad comes out before posting that article?
Guess we'll have to see.
We will find out, yes. So now comes our new player question. What's the question this week?
Well, last week Terry Adwin was talking about making a tooltip to try to find Ozma in the very first mission that you ran, and afterwards I was kind of like, how do you make a tooltip?
So the answer to that question is you hover your mouse over a thing that you want to make a tooltip of, and you press the H key unless you've bound something else to it, in which case you might need to discover what your hotkey is to make a tooltip, and then it makes a static floaty of that thing that happens when you hover your mouse over something. and then you can use that to select thing of choice. And I first got introduced to this feature when I was going raiding with Ploy, because when you get into those larger pulls, and you have your target assist, which is your shot caller, they go over the order in which things are supposed to be killed. And so the person who's, well, actually Maven would say, well, give me a minute to get it all tooltipped, and she would go through and do her little hover thingy over each of the mobs in order, and then you can arrange them on your screen in sequence of what needs to be killed when.
Nice.
All right. That sounds like it could be potentially useful. If I remember correctly, I first heard about this thing way back when someone was telling me their trick on keeping track of the defenders in the Siege of Gondoman. Of course, I never actually got around to actually trying it. Or I think I might have tried it once, but I never got into the habit of using that particular feature, so I always forget about it.
I actually use it most for the dance quests now, because you can hover over the quest giver, push H, then you get the little pop-up on the screen that'll just stay there unless you press escape or close it. And then if you're in the middle of the dance and you accidentally untarget them, you can target them again. Because the dance master at the party tree, if you accidentally untarget him, trying to target him again while he's on stage is almost impossible. You just end up targeting bunches of the little hanging message things or other NPCs in the area. So that can be very handy there too.
All right. That sounds like a good use for it. Now all you have to do is remember it the next time you go to a festival. Oh, yes, right. There is a festival on now.
Yes, there is.
Less than head into our weekend LOTRO, and Arendis, what have you been up to?
Sadly, not much. The most that I've been able to do over the past, I think, 2 weeks now has just been participating a little bit in the festival. Hopefully that'll change over the next couple of weeks, but that was basically it for me. Calabathian, how was your week?
Like you, if anybody noticed, I was not really around. That's because my internet died, not this past Wednesday, but the week before. And then it sort of stayed off until this past Tuesday. So that's about all that I've gotten done is like one brief, little, I think, span on Friday. I've been pretty much playing catch up on work related stuff as a result. So I've been like completely like nowhere at the moment. I did manage to sneak in just enough time to get Celeborn out for Gale, and we started the epic quests leading to getting our war steeds. Though, I mean, he's already, he's already got a war steed. It's just we're backtracking and doing the epic quests. He's one of my Valard characters. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I've had time for, other than screaming and crying about a major project that I had to do for school that was due, on like the 9th, and I couldn't do it because I had no internet. there was no doing anything. So yes, I'm so happy to be back. They fixed it, and now I'm like, yay! So, yes, Guai, how about you? Well, how was your week? Hopefully so much better than mine.
Well, first things first, missions! So many missions! I'm running them both on like a level 30 character and then on Guarendis with my captain that I run with all the time. Totally doing this for the new mount, I admit it, at least for Guer. Kind of a few comments. It seems weird to me that depending on who's grabbing the chest sometimes, but it doesn't really seem to matter one way or the other. They don't seem to distribute the tokens equally each time you do something together as a duo. Like sometimes I will grab the chest and I'll get 1 and the captain will get 3, or we'll both get 2, or he'll get 3 and I'll get 1. And it's kind of like, I think if we were running duo, wouldn't you want both of us to just get the 2? Or I don't know.
No, it's the case. It's randomly generated on how many each player get. They independently give each player a number from 1 to 3.
And I understand that. It just seems odd to me that you
Yeah,
don't. If
well,
you're running
that's
a duo, you don't.
that's the way it goes. They did not change the engine just because you're running 2 instead of 1.
Yeah. Other thing that I'm kind of disappointed with is the reason I'm saying Guerre's only running it for the mount. There's no bow. There's crossbow. Even captains have a halberd that's a cosmetic one. But where's a bow? Like a regular bow. I loved, like, say in the Dalelands you get the last gallon bow with the little, like, wooden with the little dragon heads or something like that. Why couldn't we had something cool for regular bows in this area? SSG. But I do want to thank SSG for the absolute hilarity yesterday of going to deal with inebriated goblins and having a dance off with their boss. That made my day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was hilarious. I laughed till I cried.
It wasn't called Dancing Machine, was it?
No, it looks like a perfectly normal quest, but you get in there and you're like, wait, what? You even get congratulated for managing to defeat everybody without drawing a weapon. You're that awesome. Yeah. So, my kin has been trying to reestablish DD night, and Thursday night we ended up going roving threat hunting in Ariador because one of my kinnies, who's like a level 130, it's like, I've never actually did roving threats. So yeah, we cleared out the North Downs and Evendim and Misty Mountains, and I have big plans if he shows up again next week that we really should just finish the rest of Ariador. But anyway, the Hobbit Hunter is ready to be done with Mirkwood. She's done the 3 skirmishes in a row today, but then the quest after that, rescuing Bori. I've only been through there once before, and it was on Gorindus, and I think it was like a couple of years ago that I did that. I could not remember the mechanics on this. So yeah, I thought I was supposed to pick up just one of the Nightshade barrels and run it out and put it out. And I tried to do that, and the trolls attacked me, and 7 orcs came down the hallway, and I got killed. Okay, I think I've got it now, and I get one set of barrels out, and something happens where more orcs came coming, and trolls chased me back into the room with Bori. The orcs ended up killing me the second time. One of the bowmen did, but I was dying laughing because the 2 trolls were at the front of the pack, and they got stuck trying to go in the door. I mean, it was hilarious because you could see these 2 trolls trying to fit through the door, but somebody was shooting me through it. Finally, the 3rd time, I managed to get it done. I had forgotten how annoying it was.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention, hey, I'm a hunter. I have leafy feet. Could you hurry it up, Bori? Yes, I did fine with the Nightshade barrels, and this is my 3rd time doing this. Please hurry up. But yes, I finally got through that. That was right before I'd finished questing for the evening. So I'm ready to be done with Mirkwood, and I know I have more to do.
But not much more. You only have like one instance. You have a really talking instance with Gandalf.
Yes.
And then the last skirmish.
Yes.
Which we really need a skip button for. Or a fast forward through Mazog's
well,
speed.
I at least have a fish slap emote ready.
Well, there you go. Because you're going to spend 5 minutes waiting for him to be done talking. So you can just be done with the skirmish already.
I need to make a hotkey for Whippity Doo, so I can just keep sitting there doing that. Since Window, what did you get up to this week?
Well, my level 50 lore master, who's been like sitting right outside Moria for a long time, is finally in Moria and made it all the way to the Great Delving. So that's pretty cool. Nice. And yeah, she actually ran with one of Natasha's lore masters, who was also level 50, one I think. So yeah, double lore masters was a lot of fun. And I ran my first few missions after chasing Karsgar. It was an epic chase. It was so much fun. There were so many dragons. And, okay, it wasn't really Karsgar. But I'm so excited to learn more about Karsgar and find out who he actually is and maybe put an end to him. Maybe not. Maybe he'll be cool. But,
No, he needs to die.
I mean, I gave him a book, so maybe he's gonna like me. But it was creepy, but it was really cool. And, yeah. So, looking forward to seeing more of this villain. And then I did more festivaling. Lots of In and A League deliveries, actually, mostly. And my now level 121 hunter has almost maxed out her crystals for her bow. So, that's pretty cool. What were you up to this week, Terry?
Well, Terry also did some chasing after Karsgar and found a dragon's hoard. It was so cool.
Wasn't it awesome?
It was so cool. I'm a little surprised that there was still so much gold in there, because you would have thought, but okay. Well, I mean, Karsgar did kind of have the place as a base, and there are dragons in the vicinity that would probably...
It's pretty well hidden, too.
I mean, it would probably deter the casual wanderer, or, eat the casual wanderer. But we were very determined. Terry, in particular, was very determined, especially when she found out because she's been kind of, okay, whatever. The character's been kind of, okay, whatever, humoring the scholar guy through Wells of Langflood and now into this, learning about the history of the Rohirrim, because it's kind of, okay, whatever, because this Terry is Gondorian, so she kind of really doesn't care about Rohan's history. It's like, okay, whatever. But then she found out in this newest chapter that Karsgar got himself involved, and now she's actually interested because Karsgar needs to die. He's actually probably on my list of top 5 favorite villains in the game, just because they do such a really good job making you hate him. I really hate him. So they did a really good job making us really hate him. He's really, really awful.
I'm just really curious about him.
Well, as a player, I'm super curious, but
I was say, all of a sudden I'm realizing that Terry Edwin must see Lalia as a villain.
She is, isn't she?
I mean, she really hates her.
You're not confused by her cute little hobbity dress and attire or demeanor.
Are you sure you're not getting her confused with Sarah Oakhart?
You want to know who the villain is? You know who I'm going to say, don't you?
Leland.
I mean, they also do a great job making Radagast exceptionally annoying, and making Mithrandir just really a jerk. Spoiler, Gandalf's a jerk, in case you weren't aware of that already. Wizards are jerks.
Only in game. I'm surprised you made it back. I expected you to die fetching that for me.
I know.
Thank you, wizard.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Karsgar is honestly one of the more interesting characters that we run into in the game, but on the villain side of interesting. So, yes, I want to learn more about him so that I can kill him because he needs to die. Yeah, actually, because there's that one instance where they give you the choice of you can listen to him or you can fight him, and they actually let you fight him if you pick that option, which was great. It was like the best.
Who's the more interesting, Terry? Who's the interesting villain? This guy or Viznik?
Viznik's not a villain.
He's not a villain.
But he's a goblin, isn't he?
He's not a villain.
Even better.
He's neat.
He is so cool.
He's my favorite kooky little goblin. Yes.
He's Viznak is a villain in the same way that Jajax is a villain, okay?
We need more Jajax and more Viznak in our game. So much more.
So much more Jajax.
So what we really need is for Jajax to combine forces and
yeah, so definitely still interested in finding out who the heck Karazgar was. Because we know who he is now, but we don't know who he was back before all of the things happened to him. But learning more about his history and then how he got tangled up with the Rohirrim stuff was fun to read. My Arkenstone Runekeeper did some irresponsible skirmishing and got, because she's been trying to level up so she
Irresponsible.
can. It was irresponsible because it was way over her level. It was irresponsible to the point of I put Sansa's 107 or 8 or whatever level it was mini on follow and just kind of kicked back and ate crackers while she killed stuff in Storm of Mathadros. But I'm up to level 39 now, and I went and got the books, the books you can get at level 39, and discovered that the descriptions for the level 39 deed books for the Runekeeper are actually really interesting. I always find the deed books really interesting for every class, kind of. Like the burglar ones are my favorite ones just because of the titles, but I was actually reading aloud the descriptions that they have of these books. And so one is written by an elf and one is written by a dwarf because, elves and dwarves can be runekeepers. And then one is written by a man who basically went nuts trying to become a runekeeper, which I thought was really great. We'll have men as runekeepers sometime after we get Hobbit champions. I'm actually really hoping we get Hobbit champions because Hobbits totally need to be champions.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Then I too was doing missions, but not on any of my other characters. On my level now 25 Honor Hunter went up 2 levels doing missions today because I wanted to do something other than the first mission because I had done the first mission on Terry and then I did the first mission on Well Dressed, but the other way around, I did on Well Dressed and then Terry. So I wanted to be able to actually comment on missions other than yes, I did them. So yes, I did them. I did all of the ones today, even though you only have to do 3 a day for the quest. And yeah, I had. It's really interesting to me because the hunter is a little OP.
In the missions, right?
Well, the hunter's a little OP below level. Like when you're at lower levels, the hunter can be a little OP, which is why my Honor Hunter has been doing stuff over her level to kind of equal out the OP-ness. Because if she fights stuff on level, she kind of squishes it. Because she's still in the 20s. I think you hit the bump at like 45 or so, where stuff starts to get harder. Although I don't know if that's actually a thing since they've tweaked all of the stats. I know that level 1, by the time you hit level cap, stuff is a lot harder to kill than it is at level 20. But it was kind of a ridiculous degree I would get in the mission and stuff that on landscape I can't one-shot with Swiftbow. I was one-shotting with Swiftbow. That kind of OP-ness in the mission. But it was good. I got it taken care of. Managed to advance a little bit the enmity of the wargs because there's a couple of wargs in like 2 of them. So, and I was interested in finding that in a couple of them, the stuff that drops is actually more level appropriate to your character than to the zone. But in the ice wall, the drops I was getting for like crafting materials were actually level 100 something drops.
Yeah.
And then in at least 3 occasions, I got this warning about how I was in a zone that in an area that I didn't belong in, and I was going to be removed if I didn't leave.
Yeah, that's
a little
thing.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that's an honor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
presumably it's something that pops up when you go into places on landscape where you're not actually supposed to be at yet because the content hasn't gotten there, but it's a little disconcerting that it actually shows up in missions because why are the missions open if your character can't be there?
Well, fortunately, they don't actually do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't actually remove you from the mission, but yeah, it's a very disconcerting message to have pop up in bright red letters across your screen. Warning!
I know my 95 has the same issue in going in level 95, and I get these big warning, you don't belong here. You're on the wrong side of the mountains.
So that
You
was
came
my
to
week.
the wrong side of the mountains today, boy.
Pine Leaf, how was yours?
All right. I will start out with my main warden who finished chapter 4 of the Legacy of Durin, which is the latest of the chapters because the War of Three Peaks would be chapters 3 and 4. So I got through that part of the storyline, and I'll just say wow, and it'll be great when we finally have Terry and Sanswinda done with it, so we can actually talk about it. Then with my low level warden, I reached what I thought was the last rep level for missions, where the level where you get the goat and the cosmetic pets, which was the highest of the ones that are where you have items purchasable. I figured that would be the highest rep level because it's about the equivalent of Kindred, and Kindred is generally the highest one in there. And I go and finish it up in there, and I've noticed I'm still getting. What do you mean there's another rep level after this? Right. So apparently there's at least one more. I think the next one is going to be the last one. That's a more of a guess than anything else. But the next storyline mission sounds like to me the end of a storyline type scenario. So I'm going to hope that that is the last one after that. We'll find out. It doesn't help to figure out the equivalents because all of those mission names are in a dwarf language rather than in a language that any of us can understand. Then on Honor, my warden headed into Fangorn to run some quests for Leaflock, so I am doing that. I'm hoping I could get finished. Well, I don't think I'm going to get full Replo with it, but I think I'm hoping to get far enough along on that I could say, all right, I have played all the all the rep quests in there, so I don't have to spend all day in there. But I finally got that port to Durdingle because I was afraid to leave that place and get my VIP thing because I did not feel like having to go port back to Nankarunir, then find Leaflock's horn, and then use that in order to transport back. And it's nice now having the port so that I can at least get back to Leaflock if I have to leave in order to pick up my rep item my VIP item, or if I needed to do something else like run missions or anything like that. And that was my week in LOTRO. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious array of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donation page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to support us without joining Patreon, you could contact Drac at lotraplayers.com. We did not receive any emails this week. If you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com, and you can also follow us at Twitter. The Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotra Players at Lotra Players, Arendis at Arendis, Ponlyfit, Ponlyf Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, but please note that for the next few weeks, DDO Players will be on hiatus. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.